Hi, I am Dr. Harrington, and most people think liver damage is something that happens to other people. People who drink too much, people with a diagnosis, people who already know something is wrong. I used to think that too until I started looking at the lab results of patients who had never touched a drop of alcohol in their lives. Healthy people, active people, people who genuinely believed they were eating well. And yet, scan after scan, blood test after blood test, the same pattern kept showing up. Fatty infiltration, elevated enzymes, early fibrosis, silent, steady, relentless damage to an organ they never thought twice about. Here's what most people don't realize. Your liver doesn't complain. It doesn't send you sharp pain like a bad knee. It doesn't make you cough like damaged lungs. It sits quietly in the upper right side of your abdomen, performing over 500 essential functions every single day. And it absorbs punishment without a sound until the damage is so advanced that the whisper becomes a scream. And by then, you've lost years of opportunity to change course. My name is Dr. Kevin Adewailing. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon with over 2 decades of clinical experience. And today I'm going to walk you through 5 foods that are quietly, steadily, and sometimes irreversibly damaging your liver, foods that millions of people eat every single day without the slightest concern. Before we talk about the foods, I need you to understand something about the liver itself, because once you understand what this organ actually does, you'll never look at your plate the same way again. Think of your liver as a chemical processing plant, the largest one inside your body. Every single thing you eat, drink, breathe, or absorb through your skin passes through this plant. It filters toxins. It metabolizes fat. It produces bile to digest your food. It stores vitamins and minerals. It regulates blood sugar. It builds proteins your blood needs to clot. Now imagine running that plant 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 60, 70, 80 years. And imagine that for decades you've been feeding that plant raw materials it was never designed to process at the volume you're sending them. That's what's happening right now inside millions of people who believe they're eating a normal, reasonable diet. The plant is overwhelmed, and it's starting to break down. The condition is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, and it is the most common liver disorder on the planet. Current estimates suggest that roughly 30% of the global adult population has some degree of it. In certain countries, that number climbs above 40%. Most of those people have no idea. Let me say that again. Nearly 1 in 3 adults walking around right now has a liver that is quietly accumulating fat and damage, and they feel absolutely fine. That's not reassurance. That's the problem. So let's talk about what's causing it, and let me be clear, I'm not here to make you afraid of food. I'm here to make you informed about it. There's a very big difference. Food number 1. Added sugars, especially fructose. And I don't mean the fructose in an apple. I mean the industrial fructose that has been poured into the modern food supply in quantities that our bodies were never engineered to handle. Here's something most people don't know. When you eat glucose, the sugar your body uses most readily for energy, almost every cell in your body can process it. Your muscles burn it, your brain runs on it, it gets distributed. But fructose is different. Fructose can only be processed in one place, your liver. Every single gram of fructose you consume lands directly on your liver's doorstep and says, "Deal with me." Now, when that fructose comes wrapped inside a whole piece of fruit, with fiber, with water, with nutrients, the delivery is slow, manageable, gentle. The liver handles it without trouble, because that's what it evolved to do. Small amounts, delivered gradually. But when you drink a large soda, you're delivering somewhere between 30 to 45 grams of fructose to your liver in under 10 minutes. No fiber to slow it down, no nutrients to accompany it, just a flood of fructose hitting an organ that cannot process it fast enough. So what does the liver do? It converts the excess into fat, directly, efficiently, relentlessly, day after day, month after month, year after year, and that fat accumulates inside the liver cells themselves. This is how non-alcoholic fatty liver disease begins, not with a dramatic event, but with thousands of small ones. And it's not just sodas. Fruit juices, energy drinks, sweetened coffees, flavored yogurts, granola bars, breakfast cereals, pasta sauces, salad dressings. Added sugar, particularly high fructose corn syrup, is in places most people never think to look. A single serving of some commercial pasta sauces contains more sugar than a chocolate cookie. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Research published in the Journal of Hepatology has shown a direct, dose-dependent relationship between added sugar consumption and liver fat accumulation. The more added sugar you consume, the more fat your liver stores. And once that fat reaches a critical threshold, inflammation begins. And once inflammation becomes chronic, fibrosis follows. And fibrosis, if it continues, leads to cirrhosis. The same cirrhosis that most people associate only with heavy drinking. Except nobody warned them about the orange juice. Food number 2. Refined carbohydrates and ultra-processed foods. Now this one is going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people because I'm talking about foods that form the backbone of the modern diet. White bread, white pasta, packaged snacks, instant noodles, frozen meals, chips, crackers, baked goods made with refined flour. Let me explain what happens when you eat refined carbohydrates. The processing has already done most of the work your digestive system would normally do. The fiber is gone, the outer husk is gone. What's left is essentially a delivery vehicle for rapid glucose. When you eat these foods, your blood sugar spikes fast and hard. Your pancreas responds by flooding your bloodstream with insulin. And insulin's job, among many things, is to tell your liver to start storing energy. When this cycle happens occasionally, your body manages it beautifully. When it happens 3, 4, 5 times a day, every single day, for decades, your liver begins drowning in its own stored fat. But there's another layer to this, and it's one that researchers have only recently begun to understand fully. Ultra-processed foods don't just deliver bad ingredients, they displace good ones. Every meal built around refined carbohydrates is a meal that didn't contain the fiber, the antioxidants, the micronutrients, and the protective compounds that your liver needs to repair itself. Your liver regenerates. It's one of the few organs that can. But regeneration requires raw materials, nutrients, amino acids, vitamins. And if every meal you eat is nutritionally hollow, your liver is trying to rebuild itself with nothing. It's like asking a construction crew to repair a building, but giving them no bricks. A large-scale study from JAMA Internal Medicine found that people who consumed more than 60% of their daily calories from ultra-processed foods had significantly higher rates of liver disease, metabolic syndrome, and cardiovascular events, not marginally higher, significantly higher. If your pantry is full of things that come in crinkly packages with ingredient lists longer than a paragraph, your liver is paying the price right now, whether you feel it or not. Food number 3, excessive red and processed meat. Now, I want to be very careful here because I am not telling you to never eat red meat again. That is not the message. The message is about quantity, frequency, and the specific type of processing involved. Let me explain what happens when your liver has to process large amounts of animal protein, particularly processed varieties like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli meats, and cured or smoked products. These foods are typically high in saturated fat, sodium, and chemical preservatives, particularly nitrates and nitrites. Your liver has to metabolize every bit of that. The saturated fat contributes directly to hepatic fat accumulation. The sodium forces your liver and kidneys into overdrive managing fluid balance. And the nitrates, when processed by your body, can form compounds called nitrosamines, which are known to cause oxidative stress in liver tissue. A study published in the Journal of Hepatology followed over 800 adults for several years and found that high consumption of red and processed meat was independently associated with a significantly increased risk of developing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Even after adjusting for overall calorie intake, body weight, and other dietary factors, the association held firm. And here's what's particularly important. The risk was highest in the processed meat category. The curing, the smoking, the chemical preservation, these processes add layers of metabolic burden that fresh meat simply does not carry. I had a patient, 62 years old, retired, physically active, walked 3 miles every morning. He came to me with mildly elevated liver enzymes on a routine blood panel. No alcohol use, no medications known to affect the liver, no family history. When I asked about his diet, everything seemed reasonable until I dug deeper. Breakfast was 3 strips of bacon and 2 sausage links every single morning. Lunch was almost always a deli sandwich. Dinner frequently included a processed meat of some kind. He wasn't overeating, his portions were modest. But the sheer daily volume of processed meat was quietly loading his liver with saturated fat, sodium, and chemical compounds it was never meant to handle in that concentration. We adjusted his diet, not eliminated red meat, adjusted it. Reduced processed varieties dramatically, replaced them with fish, legumes, and smaller portions of fresh, unprocessed meat. 6 months later, his liver enzymes were back to normal. His ultrasound showed measurable reduction in hepatic fat. The liver was healing because we removed what was hurting it. Does that surprise you? Have you ever considered how much processed meat you actually consume in a week? Write that number in the comments. I think it might surprise you. Food number 4. Excessive alcohol in so-called moderate amounts. Now I know what you're thinking. You said this was about foods, not drinks. But alcohol is consumed the way food is. At meals, at social events, in the evening at home. And the reason I'm including it is this. There is a deeply embedded cultural belief that moderate drinking is harmless or even healthy. And that belief is doing real damage. For years we heard that 1 or 2 glasses of red wine a day were good for the heart. That message was everywhere. And millions of people internalized it as permission. Permission to drink daily without concern. But here is what the most recent and most rigorous research actually shows. Large-scale meta-analyses, including a landmark study published in The Lancet, have concluded that no amount of alcohol is truly safe for overall health. The supposed cardiovascular benefits have been largely debunked by better-designed studies that corrected for earlier methodological flaws. And for your liver specifically, even what most people consider moderate, 1 to 2 drinks a day, adds a cumulative processing burden that, over years and decades, can initiate the same cascade of fat accumulation, inflammation, and fibrosis that we discussed with sugar. Here's the biology. Your liver prioritizes alcohol above everything else. When alcohol enters your bloodstream, your liver drops whatever else it's doing and focuses entirely on breaking down the ethanol. It converts it first to acetaldehyde, a genuinely toxic compound, and then to acetate. That process generates oxidative stress every single time, every single drink. Now, a healthy liver in a younger person can handle this with relative ease, but add age, add 10 or 20 or 30 years of daily moderate consumption, add a diet already high in sugar and refined carbohydrates. And now that liver, already storing excess fat, already managing chronic low-grade inflammation, is being asked to process a toxic compound on top of everything else. This is how people who drink moderately, who never binge, who never appear intoxicated, who consider themselves responsible, end up sitting across from me looking at an ultrasound showing a liver they don't recognize. I'm not telling you to never have a glass of wine. I'm telling you to stop believing that it's medicine. It isn't. Your liver doesn't see it as a health food. Your liver sees it as a priority toxin that must be neutralized immediately, and every neutralization comes at a cost. Food number 5. And this one might be the most surprising of all. Vegetable oils and fried foods, specifically the industrial seed oils that have become the invisible foundation of modern cooking. Soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. These oils are in virtually everything, every restaurant fryer, every packaged snack, every commercial baked good. Now here's what you need to understand. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. In small amounts, omega-6 is essential. Your body needs it, but the ratio matters enormously. For most of human history, the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids in the diet was roughly 1 to 1 or 2 to 1. In the modern Western diet, that ratio has exploded to 15 to 1, even 20 to 1. Why does that matter for your liver? Because omega-6 fatty acids, when consumed in excess, are pro-inflammatory. They feed the inflammatory pathways in your body. And chronic low-grade inflammation in the liver is the mechanism that converts simple fatty liver, which is largely reversible, into steatohepatitis, which is the stage where real, lasting damage begins. But there's more. When these oils are heated to high temperatures, as they are in deep frying and commercial cooking, they oxidize. They break down into compounds called aldehydes and lipid peroxides. These are genuinely toxic to liver cells. Every time you eat deep-fried food prepared in repeatedly heated vegetable oil, you are delivering oxidized fat directly to the organ responsible for processing it. Research published in the World Journal of Gastroenterology has demonstrated that diets high in oxidized fats significantly accelerate liver inflammation and fibrosis in both animal models and human observational studies. The liver cells absorb these damaged fats, struggle to process them, and accumulate injury over time. And here's the part that frustrates me as a doctor. These oils were marketed for decades as the healthy alternative. Switch from butter to margarine, we were told. Use vegetable oil instead of lard. Cook with seed oils for heart health. And millions of people did exactly that, believing they were making the right choice. The liver data suggests otherwise. Think about how often you eat food prepared in these oils. Not just at home, where you might control the type and temperature of your cooking fat, but every restaurant meal, every takeout order, every packaged food from a shelf. The exposure is constant and invisible. That is precisely what makes it so dangerous. Now let's bring this all together. Because just like every video on this channel, I don't want to leave you with fear. I want to leave you with a plan. Your liver is one of the most forgiving organs in the human body. I mean that literally. It is one of the only organs capable of genuine regeneration. If you catch the damage early enough and remove the cause, your liver can heal. Fat can be cleared. Inflammation can resolve. Even early fibrosis can stabilize and in some cases reverse. That is extraordinary. And it means that the choices you make starting today, not tomorrow, not next month, today, can change the trajectory of your liver health in ways that are measurable within weeks. Here's what I tell my patients. 4 steps. Step 1. Read labels. Specifically, look for added sugars. If sugar, high fructose corn syrup, or any of its 60 aliases appears in the first 5 ingredients, think twice. Your liver is counting every gram even if you're not. Step 2. Reduce ultra-processed foods. You don't have to eliminate them overnight. Start by replacing 1 processed meal a day with something made from whole, recognizable ingredients. A piece of fish, a handful of vegetables, brown rice instead of white. Small changes sustained over time create enormous results. Step 3. Be honest about your alcohol intake. I don't mean honest with your doctor. I mean honest with yourself. How many drinks per week, genuinely? If that number has been creeping up over the years, your liver has noticed even if you haven't. Consider at least 3 to 4 alcohol-free days per week. Give your liver the time it needs to recover between exposures. Step 4. Watch your cooking fats. Consider replacing industrial seed oils with olive oil, avocado oil, or even modest amounts of butter for cooking. These fats behave differently in your body, and the difference at the cellular level inside your liver is substantial. I want to tell you about a patient I'll call Margaret, 67 years old. School teacher her entire life. Never smoked. Never drank more than a glass of wine at Christmas. Walked her dog every evening. By every visible measure, a healthy woman living a healthy life. She came to me because her primary care doctor had noticed her liver enzymes creeping upward on 3 consecutive annual blood tests. Not alarmingly high, just a trend. A quiet upward drift that most people would ignore. Her doctor didn't ignore it, and I'm grateful for that. We did an ultrasound, moderate fatty liver. No fibrosis yet, but the fat was there, unmistakable. Bright on the screen like a warning light that had been on for years with nobody checking the dashboard. When I went through her diet with her, the picture became clear almost immediately. She started every morning with a large glass of orange juice and a bowl of sweetened granola. Lunch was often a sandwich on white bread with deli meat. Afternoon snack was crackers or a granola bar. Dinner was usually reasonable, but she cooked almost exclusively with canola oil because she believed it was the healthy choice. She wasn't eating badly by any conventional standard. She was eating exactly what decades of marketing and outdated nutritional guidance had told her to eat, and her liver was paying the price for every well-intentioned choice she had made. We rebuilt her diet together. Not dramatically, not painfully. Replaced the orange juice with whole fruit, swapped the granola for eggs and vegetables, switched the white bread for whole grain, reduced the deli meat, changed her cooking oil to extra virgin olive oil. Small, sustainable, livable changes. 8 months later, her liver enzymes were normal. Her repeat ultrasound showed a measurable reduction in hepatic fat. She looked at the screen, looked at me, and said, "I can't believe nobody told me this sooner. That sentence is why I make these videos. Here's what I need you to take away from today. Your liver is working for you right now, this very second, processing, filtering, protecting, rebuilding. It asks almost nothing of you in return, but it needs you to stop sending it things it cannot handle in the volumes you're sending them. 5 foods that quietly damage your liver over time. Added sugars, especially fructose, that flood the only organ that can process them. Refined carbohydrates and ultra-processed foods that spike insulin and starve your liver of the nutrients it needs to repair. Excessive processed red meat that loads your liver with saturated fat and chemical compounds it was never designed for. Alcohol in amounts the culture calls moderate, but your liver calls relentless. and industrial seed oils and fried foods that deliver oxidized inflammatory fats directly to your liver cells. None of this means you can never enjoy a meal again. That is not the point. The point is awareness. The point is understanding that your liver has been absorbing the consequences of your choices in total silence, and that silence is not the same as safety. You have the power to change this, starting right now, starting with the very next meal you eat. What's one food on this list that surprised you the most? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video helped you understand something about your liver that you didn't know before, share it with someone you love. That one share might be the conversation that changes everything for them. Take care of yourselves. Stay curious. Keep asking questions about what you put into your body, because your liver is listening even when you're not. And as always, everything I've shared today is general medical information based on published research and clinical experience. Every person's situation is unique. Before making any changes to your diet or treatment, please have a full, honest conversation with your own doctor or specialist. They know your history. They know your body. And that conversation, informed, direct, and unhurried, is exactly where good health begins. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We catch you in the next one.